We'll discuss the future in Minneapolis later in the show, but first, a look at your Big Ten teams over the last 35 seasons to win the NIT. Starting in '84 with our former colleague Tim McCormick, who led Michigan to the NIT title. Of course, remember those '97 and '98 titles by Michigan and Minnesota, respectively, were officially vacated by the NCAA. Back with Sean Morris, and the key to a back-and-forth game tonight really seemed to come with about 6 or 7 minutes left. SMU makes that big run to go up. Richard Pitino calls a timeout, kind of calms the troops down, and the tide completely turned in Minnesota's favor.
Called play coming out of that dead ball. We saw it in the highlight rip there, Rick. The dunk by SMU, putting them up, and then they call the timeout, and they put the ball in the hands of DeAndre Matthew. You mentioned it, scoreless in the first half. But this was so important for them to get some momentum. Watch him come off the nice little rub screen, the contact, and the and one. And this really lifted the spirits of the Golden Gophers, and it allowed them then to get some offensive movement. Good job of moving without the basketball and spacing out the Mustangs defensively. And then Maurice Walker, who really didn't do much on the offensive end, did contribute on the rebounding. Nice job of setting up down low, and then that allowed them to force the Mustangs to collapse defensively, kicking it out to Austin Hollins. I really liked the way that Minnesota responded. It looked like they had every reason to fold the tents.
Despite that response, and despite the huge three by Austin Hollins in the final minute, there was still some drama. Though then again, that has been the case throughout the NIT with Minnesota. Remember, when they were playing against Florida State for the right to get to the NIT title game, they had a 3-point lead in the final minutes of regulation, and what happens? They opt not to foul after Malik Smith misses back-to-back free throws. Down comes Florida State. They knock down the triple. They force overtime. Now, they would opt not to foul in overtime either, but Florida State misses. Tonight, however, they decide to foul. Big-time change in philosophy for Richard Pitino.
Well, lesson learned. I mean, he did not want to put his team in a position where they had a chance to let the game get away from them, particularly with the fact that Eliason has been hampered by injuries. They didn't want to get very deep in there. You know, you live and learn. You heard Coach Pitino talk about it. They live and learn. I've been a big advocate of, if you're up 3 with that little amount of time, foul and make the team make the first, miss the second intentionally, get the ball back and score.